We have a gentleman in our community, in our region, named Charles Ross. And this is Charles Ross, who we've dealt with before. It's Sheriff's Office, and not only this Sheriff's Office, and the Manatee County Sheriff's Office and other people in the community about his pranks. And this is a gentleman who is no longer an adolescent. He's a young adult now, 25 years old. And most recently, one of his, quote, pranks was wearing a police uniform to go out in what he thought would be a hoax on April Fool's Day. That to us at the Sheriff's Office we thought was brazen, that he's wearing a police uniform, which we believe needs to be earned, not just worn, and that he's confronting a lady who has 2 children with her. She's trying to load groceries into her car, and he's trying to make a joke out of it and thinks it's funny to pull up while she's holding a child, has another child with her, trying to live her life, take care of her children, and he is trying to make a joke by impersonating a police officer, threatening to write her a ticket. Impersonating a police officer is a felony, but the most important thing is he thinks it's funny. And we don't think it's funny when he puts a costume on like this and goes out and confronts a mother of 2 children in a parking lot. So he has his costume on there. Here he is with the sheriff's costume on. He's wearing the Sarasota County Sheriff's Office costume when we arrested him later on a warrant and brought him into our jail. But this is not his first confrontation or his first idea of trying to be funny. He recently, in the past, has taken down stop signs up in Manatee County, which he thought was a prank, which is very dangerous. And he's done other things out in Siesta Beach. He did a flip over deputies who were out there working at Siesta Key at the time, trying to protect the community. And what I would say to the community, to this gentleman, is your adolescent behavior is becoming old. It's tying up our resources. It's costing money. It's costing the criminal justice system money to take care of these things. I have detectives working on shootings. We have drug issues we're working on, and we have to get search warrants and do investigations when he cowardly leaves a scene. Instead of waiting for us to get there to talk to a mother with 2 children, we have to do investigations, get search warrants to go find a guy who he believes he himself is funny. There's nothing funny about it. It's adolescent behavior that's not a prank, that's escalating now, where he's doing more and more things to escalate his behavior, and somebody's going to get hurt. We're working on our credibility and what we do in our communities, to be part of our communities, and to have some idiot like this put that on, confront a mother with 2 children and think it's funny. He can deal with this in court. And my hopes is, working with the state attorney's office, as many times as he's been arrested for his pranks, it's probably time for him to do a little bit of time in jail and sit around and think about it. I got a jail that will feed him 3 meals a day. They'll give him an opportunity to sit and reflect on his circumstances and the time and energy the sheriff's office puts into dealing with him. So hopefully he learns from this, and hopefully he finds some other way to commit jokes and pranks and a little bit more funny. We don't know if this was the only person he confronted. It was the only one that we're aware of. She did a wonderful job by contacting us and working with us by taking his photograph, trying to take his photograph. And once she started to take his photograph, he fled like a coward. And it took us investigative means and detectives to go hunt him down. We had to get a search warrant. We had to get a state attorney's office involved with attorneys for his, quote, prank. If somebody else that day sees this, call us, because we would love to have your information too, to validate all the actions that we know he did that day. When you're taking stop signs out in Manatee County intersections, somebody could get hurt. When you're doing flips over deputies sitting at picnic tables where they could be injured, somebody could get hurt. There's nothing funny about this. These are not pranks. These are immature actions by an adult who should know better. This is a young adult, a young man who, when he first started doing these things in a region, our hopes would be, is an encounter with law enforcement, is that he would learn from it. You know, most people learn over their time as they age, and I think we all have, and we have encounters with law enforcement or adults, is that this is not a juvenile action anymore. This is immature young man who should be doing something different. This isn't a 16-year-old. He's 25 years old. So he's committing juvenile actions at 25. So his first couple 3 contacts with law enforcement between Manatee County Sheriff's Office and Sarasota County Sheriff's Office, you would think one would learn. Obviously he's not learning, he's actually escalating his situations, which he thinks is becoming even more funnier. And I'm telling him, if he's watching this, somebody's gonna get hurt, and you're really gonna get pinned down, because somebody could get killed or really injured over these actions that are not funny at all. I think he's too immature to understand. So we're here today to send him a message. It's time to grow up, young man, and get a real job. Will he go back out and do this again? That's my fear, Sheriff, is that he will and somebody will get hurt. And the only way he'll really learn his lesson is if somebody gets hurt. And my hopes is that he grows up, maybe somebody in his family talks to him and mentors him, or we're going to bring him into our jail when he gets prosecuted. We got a lot of people in the jail that will mentor him. A lot of inmates in there would like to have an opportunity to mentor him. So we have our own mentoring community inside the Sarasota County Jail. I think he has a sense of entitlement that he doesn't respect government or citizens at all. He certainly doesn't respect the uniform of law enforcement, and he disrespects a mother who has 2 children who's out trying to live her life and do nothing more than put her groceries in a car. Think about the frame of mind of a mother who's holding a child and has a second child in a parking lot who's trying to keep an eye on her children while load her car at the same time to make sure they don't get loose, get in front of a car or something, and they have this idiot pull up and impersonate a police officer. That's very unnerving. It's time to grow up. I don't know if she knew anybody in law enforcement, but I think just her intuition was, this doesn't look right, you know, the type of vehicle he was driving, the color of the uniform, the silly little hat that he had on that maybe he thought was funny. So her intuition was just, this doesn't look right. And when she challenged him a little bit verbally, he tried to flee and run away, and she started taking pictures of his vehicle with her iPhone, and we were able to get that and go arrest him later. This isn't somebody who wanted to be a cop. This is somebody who thinks he's funny. And that this is just kind of put it over the top now, between taking stop signs out in Manatee County, doing flips over deputies sitting at picnic tables, and now confronting mothers with children in a parking lot, in a busy parking lot with cars around, to think it's something funny. There's nothing funny about it. Somebody's gonna get hurt. He just talked to her about writing her a ticket. He thought it was kind of funny. Hey, I might write you a parking ticket, just kind of idle chit chat with her. But she is very bright and articulate, and that she was able to realize her intuition told her something doesn't look right. And then when she started talking to him, he fled.